Johnny Bananas, self-proclaimed to be the challenge, naturally has done the most seasons of anyone, but with that, he's also done the most eliminations of anyone. He has been in 38 eliminations. CT, who has the second most amount of seasons, has been in 13 eliminations. That's a crazy thing to think about. Johnny has had amazing performances and Bananas backpack performances, so I want to rank each of his eliminations from worst to best.
So I'm gonna go ahead and take the money and run, teacher.
I'll win every fight.
Rookie Revolution.
This is a game!
Hey guys, what's up? It's the Rookie Revolution. It's been a while. And I just want to say before I start the rankings, I know most of you might not agree with some of the things I say or some of my rankings, but I'm just going off gut here. Not necessarily the best elimination, but best elimination for Bananas rank. So with that, let's get started.
Who's it gonna be, team? Who's going home tonight?
I really don't want to get much into this one. We all know the story. CT and Bananas hated each other, and instead of hashing it out like men, CT turned Johnny into a backpack, and it's one of the most iconic blah 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 blah. Honestly, I'm tired of talking about it. We've all seen it a million times. And we all know how this one worked. It's two men strapped back to back, and they have to push each other to their side.
Go, Johnny!
This kid's a monster. It's gonna take everything that I've got to weather his storm.
What the just happened?
It's amazing, but it is the worst showing for Bananas despite being one of the best eliminations ever, so it is in last place for Bananas.
Am I hurt? My pride and my ego's hurt. That's what's hurt. Every once in a while, you gotta eat a slice of humble pie. And I don't think it was a slice. I think I ate the whole damn thing.
And at number 37, we have Blindsided. This is the first time Wes and Bananas went against each other in an elimination round. I would actually probably say Bananas would call this his most embarrassing loss, and it's literally just blind stick fighting. There's no skill whatsoever involved. It's just hitting your opponent with a stick blindfolded. It just happened to be against his rival at the time, and probably the most anticlimactic game they could have done. Bananas left speechless for the first time ever. Like, ever.
You got any last words before we see you go?
Oh, man, I'm good.
That's a first.
Losing never feels good. Losing the West feels worse.
36 is ICANN versus Tyler. Bananas' first elimination ever, and probably the worst elimination game ever. It was a gambling game on how many watermelons you can lift. You can't really fault Bananas for losing this, as had he known it was more of a tilted lift, he wouldn't have conceded so quickly. More so just bad luck, honestly.
How many watermelons do you think you can lift?
10.
I can do 15.
20?
21.
23.
24.
28.
29.
30.
31.
31 watermelons. That's a lot of watermelon. Do it.
A good sport. I'll see you in the future, no doubt. See you in the future, no doubt.
Number 35 is Not So Bright against Devin. Now, the reason this one is so low honestly has nothing to do with his performance. It's the fact that Bananas was so fucking confident he was going to win that he did not even pack a suitcase.
I'm gonna beat you tomorrow in an elimination.
No, why are you still here?
Send you home, and then I'm gonna win this show.
Then you're gonna wake up.
He didn't account that the elimination would be a memory game where you have to light up a board. His performance was not bad. He probably wins against anyone other than Devin, judging by how close it was, but it was just the confidence that Bananas had, which I don't blame him for, that ranks us low. Also, the ridicule he faced after.
Want to know what she didn't do? Lose to me.
Tony traded in a challenge legend for a poor man's West.
That beat their shit out of you in a puzzle. Let's go!
If we go into an elimination, this is the guy we want to go in against.
How'd that work out for you?
Stop. Whatever, Devin. Whatever, Devin.
At number 34, we got Map It Out from War of the Worlds 1 against Zach and Zahida. Now, in this one, it was rock climbing with geography. Kind of weird for an elimination. Anyways, Bananas couldn't climb this wall for some reason.
He can't climb his ass up this map. Every time he gets to the top, he just slide right back down.
It wasn't a very impressive showing. But what makes it worse is Bananas thought Zach was going to throw it to him, and he didn't, making Bananas just look bad on all accounts. But there's not really much to say. I mean, it was just, I don't think anyone in the challenge is that good at geography. At number 33, we have Strung Out against Leroy and Naya on Battle of the X's 2. And this one was a hard one to place because similar to ICANN, Bananas didn't even get a chance to lift his finger. You are suspended upside down to a pole and have to shimmy your way back and forth to a bell. The girls went first, and and Nani got stuck.
Nani just basically looks like she's stuck in the mud and she can't move. It's the worst feeling, hanging underneath this pole like a turd, and there's absolutely nothing I can do about it.
Now, if Nani didn't get stuck, there is no telling how it would have gone. They would have had a lead, but I don't know if anyone was beating Leroy in this. He flew.
Leroy starts. Everyone's jaw drops.
I just think this one's hard to even consider in Banana's record as he didn't get to compete. At 32, we got ring wrestle from the island against Derek and Abram. This was very early on Bananas, so he wasn't who he is today, but he was finding his footing. You can argue this was his true first real test in elimination, going up in a pole wrestle against two animals. Now, Bananas knew he had no chance alone, so he teamed up with Derek against Abram and still managed to lose a point doing that.
Johnny goes to me beforehand and says, let's get Abram out. I'm like, all right, let's do it. Johnny's going to be easier to beat than Abram is on a one-on-one.
And when it was one-on-one against Derek, Bananas made a mistake that was honestly rookie-ish in pointing out in what he thought he saw as Derek breaking the rules. Derek wasn't breaking any rules and Bananas lost.
So we're on the ground, we're all tangled up. He makes a quick move. I'm pretty sure he freaking reverses his grip. I look at his hand grip and he's got one hand inverted on the ring. Like a dumbass, I take my hand off to call TJ's attention to it and I point at the ring. I basically screwed myself on this one.
If the island format wasn't what it was, Bananas probably doesn't even come back after this. But we all know the story, and if you don't, well, I explained it in lots of other videos. But anyways, this was more of a mental loss than a physical loss. At number 31, we got Bananas' most recent elimination as of this video, being holding back against Gabe. It was an offense versus defense elimination where you have 3 tokens and have to try and stop your opponent from getting them into your baskets. Pretty much a reverse tug of war. As much as they tried to add elements into this elimination, it was 99.9% about strength. The thing here is Bananas had a sound strategy of trying to trick Gabe, and Bananas is one of the fastest guys to ever do the show, but he's 43, and as much as Bananas I think beats almost anyone else in the house other than Theo, he got the absolute worst matchup he possibly could have gotten. Look at Gabe next to Bananas. The height difference is crazy, especially with Gabe's speed. It wasn't close.
Gabe's speed and power. I don't think I've ever seen somebody of his stature move so fast.
I'm afraid to grab the rope. I feel like my arm's gonna get ripped off.
I don't find this elimination embarrassing though at all, because to me it showed he still got it.
I still got it. I'm just showing the kids who Bananas really is.
Closing in at number 30, we got sliders against Evan. Now, this is literally just a slide puzzle. Bananas had his whole team pretty much cheering against him and was blindsided and couldn't figure it out. This was his second elimination ever, and it's just a whatever kind of one. Nothing much to say. It did single-handedly make his whole team lose though by getting rid of him. At number 29, we got Don't Trip Me Up against Joss and Sylvia on Final Reckoning, where you have to build a house of cards in a tank of water pretty much. One of Johnny's biggest strengths in elimination is usually staying cool and finding new strategies, but for some reason in this one, he was not able to stay calm. He was losing his fucking mind. It was like a 12-year-old rage quitting. I don't know why in this specific game Bananas couldn't keep his composure, but Bananas absolutely cost him and Tony this elimination game.
A tiny wave hits it, the wind blows it over. It's so top heavy, there's just no way to keep this thing standing straight. It's just brutal. Damn it! I'm about to start throwing pieces out of this thing.
Come on, guys, $1 million, guys.
TJ, man.
Alright, next up at 28 is an elimination Bananas actually won, and it's the ring versus John and Simone on X's 2 Exiles. It was a tug of war. This was not any sort of challenge. Bananas didn't even have to try. So while yeah, great, it's a win, any single person to ever play the game beats John and Simone. And at number 27, we have Die For Me against Theo on War of the Worlds 2, and this is an interesting one. You are in a cage and have to roll it to put Roman numerals in your respective spots. Bananas was killing the rolling portion, being able to do double rolls, but I guess Roman numerals ended up being one of his weaknesses. What's interesting is TJ let him know that he made a mistake right before he was about to run to the finish line. It would have been interesting to have made him think he won like Laurel and then tell him after, but he had a really good performance, just a mental error. But again, Bananas winning this elimination would have been just great TV, so it's really disappointing.
Roman numerals look very similar, so I gotta make sure I don't get confused.
Bananas, you gotta go back. You gotta fix this one. It's not right.
What are you talking about?
7, 6. It's wrong.
I'm about to make my sprint for the finish line. TJ comes over and tells me that I've mixed the number 6, and number 7 up. I had this thing in the bag. I made a stupid mistake, and that ended up costing me this elimination.
At 26, we got Through Thick and Thin against Cara and Jamie on Bloodlines. It was pretty much just a puzzle. Bananas lost this one. But the reason it's not super low is because I genuinely think this might be one of the hardest puzzles to ever be on the show. They showed the answer key, and I still don't see how it all goes together.
I'm looking at this puzzle, and it makes makes zero sense. No matter how many different strategic approaches I take to solving this puzzle, absolutely nothing is working.
What are we building?
I still don't see it. No, I didn't see it ever. It's confusing me.
It's a clean loss, and definitely not one to be ashamed of. I want to take a moment to show how much of a good sport Bananas is when losing fair. In all of these, he always shakes the opponent's hand and gives them kudos, something not a lot of people mention.
Puzzle masters, puzzle masters. Job, man. You deserve it. To be the best, you gotta beat the best. Cara Maria, you whoop my ass, girl.
At 25, we have lock, stack, and barrel against Jordan and Kaz on World Championship. And yet another puzzle where you have 16 barrels and have to stack them with very minor details matching an answer key. Bananas did very good. However, this is a bit of a confusing situation because this loss was more because of Bananas being who he is. It still boggles me, but even against Jordan, the whole house does everything they can to make sure Bananas loses by telling Jordan and Kaz what to do. If Bananas was anyone else, the cast tells him his one minor mistake and he wins.
There is different ways to win the challenge. Sometimes you win a final. Another way to win the challenge, throw Johnny Bananas' ass in the arena.
I say this is more of a bad win for Jordan than a bad loss for Bananas.
That ain't right.
Which one? Which? And then that's on you. That's on. I was trying to look at Jordan's.
Argentina's son.
Yeah, that sad face. I ain't saying nothing.
He's got one wrong. He's got one wrong. Keep going.
You need a dark blue. Burn the dark blue.
Go! What?
Get the dark blue. What's up, babe?
Jordan and Kaz wins.
The sun. The sun is different.
Different son.
You guys knew that. You guys knew that.
I'm sorry, Kaz.
It's all right.
At 24, we have Bananas versus Riff Raff and Tic Tac Hole on Champs versus Stars. It was essentially putting in mini golf to have a turn on the Connect 4 board. If Bananas lost to Riff Raff, I do not think we would ever have seen him come back on the challenge. Nothing would have been more embarrassing. There's not much to say though. It was a dominant performance, but there's no excuse for it not to have been. Bananas won without Riff Raff scoring 1 point.
Riff Raff, you nervous?
Shrimp pad thai.
Shrimp pad thai. What is your motivation for competing tonight?
I'm competing to pet puppies. I can't wait to pet those pups.
How focused are you for this game?
So focused, it's like I'm looking into a kaleidoscope.
Next, at 23, we have Killer Quads against Ryan from Battle of the Eras. Now, the reason this is so low, even though Bananas won, is that Bananas should have won in a more dominant fashion. This was a pretty simple concept in chasing your opponent in a circle on a go-kart trying to grab the flag on the back of them. The fact this took so long, though, is honestly surprising. Bananas does weigh a fair bit more than Ryan, which definitely impacted the go-kart. But even though this was a blowout win, it was just, again, not super dominant. I did love Bananas' deliberation speech, though, daring them to put him in.
I think most people come into this chamber, hope I don't get chosen. I'm coming in here with I wish creed, which is I wish a motherfucker would. Because if I go in, the chances of me coming back are pretty good. No offense. You've played with me before. You've seen how dangerous of an adversary I can be. I'm going to have all the power then.
At 22, we got X Battle against Leroy on Battle of the X's 2. Now, Bananas actually had a pretty serious rib injury here that he got an elimination we haven't talked about yet earlier in the season, but we all know how pole wrestle works. And Bananas did better than anyone would have thought against Leroy. Leroy has some of the best grip strength on the show, and Bananas really gave him a run for his money here. If he didn't go out of bounds round 1, he takes it. He did lose, but it was not a blowout. And he had a real chance if not for his rib.
I'm in the process of wrenching it out of his arms when I just feel this excruciating pain in my chest. Feels like someone just stabbed me with an ice pick.
Next up at 21, we got Rat in a Cage on the island against Kahada and Derek, where you are in a cage and have to unlock 4 locks tied to different objects. This was Bananas' first ever elimination win, and it was a great performance, but nothing interesting to say. It just has its spot in history as the first ever elimination Bananas ever won. Alrighty, at number 20, we have Takeout against Johnny and Avery on X's 2. You have a giant ditch and have to try to get pieces out of it with 2 giant bamboo sticks. Lots of focus and patience involved. Games that are meticulous are some of Johnny's best. He did a great job coaching his partner Nani and showed how eliminations are supposed to be done. It's really a travesty they edited this out of the main show. We're getting to a point on this list where dominant performances are still at number 20. Think about that. Now next up is one I really didn't know where to put because what was on the show was not actually how the game was played, and it makes it confusing to really have no perception on how good the performance was. But at number 19, we have The Real World against Derek on Dirty 30, where you are on a wheel with a rope rope and have to reel the rope in. Bananas came up with a brilliant strategy to run on it, which Derek copied, and it became an endurance race that Bananas surprisingly lost.
My strategy coming into this is the less laps I have to take, the longer I can stay on top of the spool, the better it's going to be.
Now, the show made it seem like this was just one round, but it was actually a best of 3 where Bananas won round 1 and Derek won round 2 and 3. Bananas gassing out at something like this isn't his best look, but coming up with that strategy everyone was blown away by is Bananas at his best.
Come on, Bananas. Come on. Come on, Johnny.
I'm in kind of a fog. I don't know if it's exhaustion, but I'm having a hard time regaining my equilibrium and figuring out how to get back onto the spool again. But there's no way I'll give up, man. I can't.
Number 18, we have Fire and Ice against Polly on USA 2, where you are standing on a block of ice with your arm in the air, and you have beanbags you can throw at a target to make your opponent's ice melt faster. The more the ice melts, the harder it is to keep your arm up. Now, Bananas did not really strategize much in this elimination. I think he was confident he could keep his arm up for a long time, so he kind of just threw all of his beanbags pretty quickly, and Bananas ended up getting lucky that Polly missed his last beanbag. This was a bit of a lame elimination for this rivalry to be squashed on, but you know, there's really nothing to critique, so it has to be a high rank. Bananas won without much struggle. I think it is worth noting as well that it seems he did not miss one beanbag throw. At 17, we have control issues / pole wrestle against Adam and Brittany on X's 2. Adam was the best rookie on X's 2 and not a small guy by any means. The fact that Bananas beat Adam by knowing exactly how to position and work the pole, and not necessarily just strength, literally felt like watching a WikiHow video on how to win a pole wrestle.
This is pretty cut and dry. Something like this. You either show up or you shut up. I'm confident. Actually, in this, being the smaller guy is actually kind of an advantage. From a leverage standpoint, the guy with longer arms is going to have more work to do. First instinct on this is to immediately try and yank away from the person, which is not what you want to do. So you keep it into your body, the better grip you can get on it, the more uncomfortable you can make it to the other person, the better off you are.
I thought I could beat Bananas, but he was able to get me in a good spot where he was able to pin down my right arm with his knee and rip the baton free.
It was a masterclass. This is actually the elimination Bananas hurt his rib on before the pole wrestle against Leroy I talked about earlier.
I literally felt pop. There. Yeah, it's a little tender.
At number 16, we got Balls In against Isaac on Free Agents. We all know how Balls In works if you watch the show, or I hope you do at least. But to summarize, you have a barrel in the middle of a ring and have to take turns playing offense and defense. You have to try and put a ball in your barrel on the offensive turn and try to stop your opponent from doing the same on the defensive turn. Anyways, this was a complete dog walk. Bananas is so much more agile than Isaac, and Isaac's like a drunk hobo on sand according to him. All Bananas had to do was use 10% of his athleticism and juke him out a bit. Easy win. Jordan says at the end that it wasn't him in there, and who would have thought that Jordan and Bananas would compete against each other in Balls In almost a decade later, but we're not going to talk about that yet.
How about those stripes, mother?
It wasn't me in there, homie. I'll be.
I hope I see you in here.
You damn straight.
You won't just be missing a hand after you come in here, but I'm gonna take your head off.
I like that intensity. Congrats. You beat a mediocre Isaac. I shouldn't have sent a sheep to do my job. All right, battle line's been drawn. I'll send you home. No worries.
At number 15, we got Cramping Out against Theo on Battle of the Eras. This is a bit of a weird elimination. You each got to place poles in a tube to try to stop your opponent from making it out the other side. How many poles you got to place was decided by a game of high-low. Just a race of squeezing through small spaces pretty much, with a little bit of luck involved. On the surface, Bananas had a huge advantage being smaller than Theo, but that wasn't really a big factor. These guys both just continued squeezing through and squeezing through. I think there's nothing Bananas could have done better, but it's always nice to win a rematch elimination, which is why this is ranked so highly.
Let this be a lesson. You take a swing for the king, and you better not miss.
At number 14, we have one I really held out for as long as possible, and that is Balls In against Darrell on Invasion of the Champions. I explained Balls In 2 seconds earlier, so I won't again, but anyways, at this point in the series, these two were the winningest challengers in history. Them going up against each other seemed like a pipe dream.
I've gone up against some heavy hitters, but Darrell's the full package. He's very smart, he's got a ton of stamina, and he's strong as a bull. This is going to be my toughest test yet.
There's the two best all-time champion winners going head-to-head tomorrow.
There's the rumble in the jungle.
Yeah.
Bananas and Darrell going in. The two best challenge champions in history of all of the challenges. Ooh, man, you're gonna be one for the books.
It's gonna be a hell of a show.
These two both have very different strengths, but even with that, both of their strengths work extremely well with Balls In, just in different ways. Bananas is all about speed and agility, while Darrell is all about strength and being a brick wall.
It's gonna be a tough one today, I can tell. I'm gonna try to hit this as hard as I can to show him that I'm here to hurt him. I'm gonna try to hurt him and break his confidence. That's my goal.
Darrell's as good as they get. There's a reason why the guy has the winning percentage that he does. So it's gonna be a test. It's gonna be a bloodbath out there. I've never gone one-on-one against Darrell. I'm gonna make him wait a second. I don't want him to get comfortable with the way I enter the ring.
Darrell's game plan is to just keep pounding Bananas. But if he's on offense or defense, Terrell's always hitting Banana. If I was a betting man, I couldn't bet on this. You don't know. No, this is gonna be good.
In this game, there was only 1 point scored, and that 1 point led to Bananas losing. But when I say this is the best Balls In Challenge history, this is the best Balls In Challenge history. The clash of strategies and two of the most dominant challengers doing the elimination two completely different ways was exhilarating to watch. So even though Bananas lost, this performance and effort he put in definitely deserves it to be this high.
It's just crazy that this entire elimination was determined by 1 point. And I had my opportunities, and I just couldn't bury it. I can't give enough credit to Darrell. That guy's an absolute load. I brought my best, but today my best wasn't good enough.
At number 13, we have X Battle against Mark Long on Battle of the X's 1. We all know how this one works by now. I honestly wanted to rank this one higher, but it's forever tainted by Mark saying he threw it. The person I trust least when it comes to saying they threw something is when they lose and have lost the same elimination again this past year and have changed the story multiple times.
Johnny and I had an alliance, you know, people are aware of that. I had something happen during the show. Yeah, I had to jump on the grenade that night with John, but I'll never do it again.
But hey, this elimination does have that asterisk or whatever that word is on it regardless. Performance-wise, we all know by now that Bananas actually is great at pole wrestles and uses his leverage excellently. As a viewer, and you don't know Mark wasn't trying, Bananas did it exactly like he explained when he went against Adam. It's all about leverage and getting to a good position quick. I do think this was a great performance even with all the controversy surrounding it.
The name of this game is not necessarily about strength, it's about who can get in the best position fastest and outlast the opponent.
This game's about leverage. It's not how many push-ups you can do.
At number 12, we have King of the Ring against Shane and Nelson on Final Reckoning, where you have a battering ram and have to use it to get your opponent out of the ring. This was a dog walk for Bananas and Tony, and apparently one of the fastest eliminations ever.
Damn, this is kind of sad to watch because it's all happening so fast.
I've never, ever seen somebody score so fast.
There isn't much to really say though, it was a good old headbanger win. I wish I had more to say. I do love Bananas' reaction to winning though. These last 11 are damn near impossible for me to rank, but I'm just gonna go with my gut, and a lot of these are interchangeable. So at number 11, we have Don't Whine For Me on Rivals 3 against Dario and Nicole. The way this one worked is you had 6 heavy-ass wine barrels that you had to move across a field and answer riddles to run them back and forth 6 times. I don't know if that made any sense. Anyways, this wasn't in a typical elimination arena, so for that fact alone, it makes it harder. There's lots more ground to traverse. However, the team they competed against had less than a 1% chance to beat them. It just doesn't happen in any universe. This was a hard-ass elimination that was an easy win for Bananas and Sarah. But TJ does say this is the hardest elimination they've had, which honestly is why this has lasted so long. I trust TJ saying it's one of the hardest he's seen.
Very proud of all of you. To say the least, I think this was the hardest elimination that we've had.
Alright, at number 10, we got T-Bone on Rivals 1 versus CT and Adam. You may be surprised this one isn't higher, but let me explain. In this game, you have a 4-way intersection where you have to run back and forth transferring your colored balls to your partner's rack. Completely a full physical and endurance combo. I'm not going to talk about the controversy of Adam potentially throwing it, as I've never bought into that rumor and it really has no merit in my opinion. Anyways, the fact of the matter is, if this was an individual elimination, Bananas loses. CT finished first. Bananas finished second. It's because Bananas' partner Tyler finished before Adam they ended up winning this elimination. It was not a dog walk. It was purely down to whose partner was less gassed out. The reason this elimination is special though is because it was redemption for the Bananas backpack. And Bananas actually did let his partner do his thing and regain his composure rather than trying to lift him up like CT did. This is one of the most redemptionist eliminations in the show.
Words cannot describe how we feel. Euphoria? Karma? I like it. Lowest point ever in challenge history for me was getting carried out on CT's back. And today, me and Tyler do the biggest upset in elimination history. You know, speaks volumes about what happens when you combine the two of us into one entity. I knew this is a good thing, man. Regardless of what happens from here on out, Tyler, me and you have absolutely killed it.
At number 9, we have Balls In vs Jordan on Ride or Dies. This was a slightly different version of Balls In. For some reason, once you were inside of the circle, it was a point, not just in the basket, which is lame as fuck. Now, Bananas vs Jordan in an elimination like this is as good as it gets, but them being tired from already running 90% of a final and the elimination rules being wacky didn't make it live up to what a true Balls In between the two could have been. Either way, Bananas used Jordan's extra layers of clothing as an advantage and beat him 2-1.
I lost my long sleeve shirt because I want less fabric for him to be able to grab. He leaves his on, and I use this to my advantage.
It was just very cool to see Jordan vs Bananas in a Balls In.
Jordan and I couldn't be a more evenly matched up elimination.
It's going to be a good show, so get your popcorn ready.
At number 8, we have Knockout from Total Madness against Rogan, and in this you are in the snow and have to run and jump to hit a bell. Simple as that. The kicker is, this is after day 1 of a brutal final, so it may seem straightforward, but all the added elements of that make it a damn near 10 on the difficulty scale. Also, as Bananas explains, running and jumping in deep-ass snow is not like running and jumping on normal ground. It's much harder.
It looks so easy, it looks so straightforward, but until you've ever tried to jump in knee-deep snow, you have no idea how difficult this elimination is.
We've been trekking up a mountain all day. It's freezing cold. It's hard to jump in this snow. You cannot predict your footing in here.
As a matchup, Rogan and Bananas are around the same height, so it was an even match, but people again underestimate Bananas' speed even with his age and 50 seasons, so he wins 2-0.
Don't touch it. Banana.
I got it with my finger. Hit my hand. I got it with my finger. I know.
Congratulations, Bananas. Man, you earned this one.
At number 7, we have Ragdoll against Dunbar on the Ruins. Ragdoll is basically a pole wrestle with a rope, which seems a lot more dangerous, which I guess is why they've never done it again. This again is very early Bananas. Dunbar is a big guy, he's stocky, and his biggest attribute was his strength. This seemed like the worst possible game Bananas could have won against Dunbar in, but he still pulled it out. People like to say Dunbar's a bad competitor, but let's look objectively for a moment. Dunbar's a challenge champion and a big dude. He got a bad rep because of his boring personality and not being that memorable, but in a game like this, he is no slouch, and Johnny completely outmaneuvered him to win this very dangerous pole wrestle. Of course, Dunbar came up with a million excuses, but this elimination showed how serious Bananas is about these shows.
I'm looking in Dunbar's eyes. He looks like a man who's possessed. His eyes are bloodshot. He's grunting. It's do or die.
Dunbar's growling. Seems like he's a wild beast. And Johnny looks scared, real scared. This is Dunbar's big chance. This is the grudge match.
At number 6, we have what I bet a lot of you thought would be number 1, but just hear me out. We have Wrecking Wall against Jordan on Free Agents. One of the most memorable moments in challenge history was Jordan volunteering to go against Bananas to get him out in the most badass or bonehead, however you think of it, way ever. Jordan and Bananas hated each other this season, and the whole first half was building up to the two of them going against each other. So Jordan pulled all the kill cards to try to take Bananas out. That doesn't necessarily mean it was an amazing elimination though. In this elimination, you have a huge wall of drywall that you have to punch and kick to make holes to climb it and ring a bell. I do agree with the notion that of all the games on Free Agents, this is the most anticlimactic one for them to have gone against each other in. Not because of Jordan's hand, just because this is the game that takes the quickest. I think Bananas wins any elimination against Jordan in this particular season, so it doesn't really matter, but a balls in at this stage of their careers or a reverse tug of war, it could have been amazing. This is still one of the most entertaining build-ups, and it was a great elimination to watch. Bananas murdered it.
I've done more in this show than you will ever do. You 10 times over.
I will mop you over your ass.
I will end you, dude.
You're talking this big. You meant hard. I will send you home. I told Bananas I'm gonna send him home. I'm a man of my word, and I will send you home, Bananas. Bam, bam, bam. All right, Bananas, you're mine.
Jordan would have better odds going to Vegas, throwing 125 grand on red and winning. This might be the biggest mistake Jordan's ever made.
What an idiot.
We can feel the tension in the air. Oh my God, this is going to be one of the biggest eliminations in challenge history.
I'm just throwing hands left and right, just flowing through this drywall like butter.
It's neck and neck, and all I can think is go.
Down goes Jordan. Wow.
I've won quite a few eliminations in my time. None more gratifying than that. That pompous little arrogant bitch asked for it, and I brought the thunder. That was the biggest bonehead move I've ever seen, dude.
When he has nightmares about that loss, I hope I haunt all of his dreams.
If it would have worked out, most badass thing in challenge history. It didn't, and it's the most bonehead thing.
For number 5, we have Charge the Wall vs. Wes on Total Madness, where you have a huge wall with squares you have to punch in to find 3 different batteries scattered throughout. They hyped this elimination up because it was Bananas vs. Wes. However, for the most epic elimination matchup of all time, the game was a bit of a letdown. Now, the editing was awesome, and I had second thoughts every time I placed this elimination because of how much TJ and the cast reiterated how legendary this battle was. They acted like it was the first time these two went against each other, completely disregarding champs vs. pros.
You are definitely one of the greatest players to ever play this game. 6 seasons he's won. 6. I mean, this guy's a legend. So Bananas, I really can't wait to see what happens tonight. Do any of you want to come down here, battle against a legend, and earn that red skull? Think you have what it takes to take out Bananas?
I'm going.
Oh, is this really happening? Is this really happening?
This is challenge history in the making. 2 of them have been waiting for this for years, and now they finally have their chance.
I'm front row to watch history be made. It's gonna be a good one, people. Get ready for the best elimination of the season.
Welcome, America! This is Wild! My entire challenge career, I've been waiting for the stars to align, for you guys to face off, and now it is here. You guys are both the best players to ever play this game. Now, facing off. Winner take all. Yeah.
I think I change my view on this elimination every time I rewatch it. Some people complain it was luck-based, but I disagree. It was patience and thoroughness and speed. They each punched out every single square on their walls. That itself is impressive. For a show moment and enjoyment of watching, this elimination is much higher than I initially thought. It really was a full circle moment in the franchise. By the way, TJ loves bananas.
This is more pressure than I've ever dealt with.
All right, Bananas wins.
I can't point to a single time in an elimination when this feeling of relief and victory and completion has hit me the way that it does in this moment. My victory in this elimination, the biggest elimination I've ever been in my entire life, is in my hands.
King doing King, Wes.
I love it. I love it, dog.
This is magical. Does this mean we're friends?
Yeah.
Does this mean we're allies?
Yeah.
Does this mean we're more than friends, just like the lovers?
Yeah.
What the? He's assaulting me!
It lived up to the hype, guys. A very exciting elimination. These guys both smashed out every square on that whole entire wall. That is why you are legendary, Bananas. Congratulations, you win the nice elimination round.
At number 4, we have It Takes Two to Tangle on X's 2 against Zach and John A. This game is just not so fast, which in my opinion is the hardest elimination game of all the recurring eliminations. You each have a huge jungle gym and 200 feet of rope. You first start by tangling the rope and making it as hard as possible for the other team when you switch off and have to untie all the knots and loops that the other team created. First team to undo all 200 feet of rope wins. This one is much higher than I initially thought it would be placed. Zach and John A did some crazy moves Bananas and Nani had to undo, but it was patience and teamwork that ended up bringing the Banana Man another elimination win. I seriously, in all my years of watching the show, have never ever seen so much fucking sweat on people. It's unreal. Just a hard-ass elimination game and clutch win.
You guys up! Don't talk too soon. This one all came down to who had the most heart and who wanted it more. Who wanted it more?
Alright, for number 3, we have Milk and Cookies against Natalie on Final Reckoning. Now, in this game, one partner had to drink a bunch of rotten milk and eat cookies, while the other partner held their arms over their head till they couldn't. Honestly, the milk and cookies were a complete non-factor. It had no impact, it didn't affect anything, so it was strictly Bananas vs. Natalie holding their arms above their head. Before I speak more on this elimination, try holding your arms in that position for the rest of the video. See if you can do it. I doubt you can. These two last 5.5 hours in that horrible position. Bananas ended up losing this elimination, so you're probably wondering why it's third. Well, he had a major disadvantage going against a woman who didn't have nearly as much weight and muscle to hold up. He still lasted 5.5 hours. I don't think anyone else in that cast could have done that. I really don't. I mean, you saw Polly earlier in the video last 20-something minutes against him. I think Bananas beats every single person in the game other than Natalie. I just want to stress again how fucking long this elimination was. To me, even though he lost, I've never been so impressed by two competitors. They both should have won. I mean, they've done ties for less. Bananas had a winning performance even though he lost, and damn near his most impressive. Don't get me started on the elimination reset either. This isn't the video to talk about that though.
I would squirt milk in my eyes straight out of a cow teat at this point for $1 million. So no, I'm not scared about the spilled milk. I'm scared about some tiny little vertically challenged Venezuelan holding their arms up for longer than me. That's what I'm scared of. I'm just trying to convince myself that whatever pain I'm in, Natalie is experiencing the exact same kind of pain. Although every time I look over at her, it looks like it's not even bothering her.
Good luck, you guys.
Suck my ass, DJ.
Yes, sir.
The pain begins to get unimaginable. It's not just my shoulders that are killing me. It's essentially my entire body.
I'm not putting my money on anybody because Bananas and Natalie look like actual statues. This is gonna be a long night.
This is incredible. We've got to be here for 2 hours at least.
These two are so damn stubborn that even standing next to each other, this close, they still have nothing to say to each other. It's a crazy relationship. I don't know what they have, but keeps things entertaining.
Guys, it's been over 4 hours. You guys are completely killing it. Here all night long. I love it.
Natalie and I are just standing here suffering in silence. I'm just trying to not be in this moment. I'm trying to do anything and everything that I can to ignore this pain. My entire back is in one big cramp.
It's been 5 hours, guys. 5 hours. 5.5 hours. You guys are setting records, but I'm going to need you both to turn around. That'll tighten up your slack and make it even more difficult.
I think everyone underestimated the stubbornness of Natalie and myself. And essentially what this has now become is a battle of wills between me and her.
I have the worst back spasms I've ever had in my entire life, dude. I literally can't stand up.
Runner-up for Banana's most impressive elimination is Bridget from Ride or Dies vs. Fessy and Mariah, and this is a doozy. In this game, you have a huge unstable rope ladder, but the bottoms where you put your feet are missing. So you have 3 poles that you have to place one at a time all the way to the top, reusing them and going up without falling. I don't know if I explained that well, better than TJ. But if this doesn't seem hard, let's look at the recent Daily on Bets vs. New Threats. There was a normal size unstable rope ladder with the bottoms already installed, and CT couldn't climb it at all. Now imagine that times 200. I don't think I've seen an elimination that requires more core strength and nimbleness and just slow movements. It's unreal. Bananas really smoke showed everyone else here. It wasn't close. And yes, Fessy is super heavy and it wasn't built for him, but that shouldn't matter. If it was the same case for Bananas, you bet his ass would have tried different strategies and tried to adapt. In fact, Banana said he came up with a really easy way to do it, but didn't want to help the other team figure it out. So he did it the hard way, but he made it look easy.
With your foot. So here's the thing, that I knew that was a strategy. The thing is, I knew once I started doing it the way that I did, which is the more difficult way, I knew that Mariah and Fessy would not be able to replicate that movement. If I used my foot, they both could have done that. But that's what you do. You reach back with your foot and you take it off your foot. And Mariah kept telling Fessy, look at Bananas, look what he's doing. And I'm like, well, there's no way he can do what I'm doing. So I don't care how long this takes me. Start using my foot and kicking it up to myself. That's something that's a strategy they could have done. And who knows, dude, maybe could have.
Look at you. And that's why you're a 7-time champ.
He humbled Fessy, who thought it was easy to beat Bananas in elimination, and downplayed his accomplishments for some reason the whole season.
Throw Bananas out here, because if you do, you'll have a first-class ticket out of here. Bananas isn't the greatest at a lot of things, but it's the stupidest that he excels in. And this is a prime example of something that Bananas would be good at.
It was honestly a game that I think Bananas does better in his 40s than any other age because of all the experience the show has given him in games like this. Just one of the hardest, most frustrating, and meticulous games the show has ever done. I also want to point out Bananas and Nany have won 6 eliminations together. Lost 2, but won 6. Pretty good partnership.
Every single move is critical. It takes balance, it takes strength, it takes focus. But I'm looking across at Nany and she's basically mimicking exactly what I'm doing, and we're just slowly making our way towards the top.
I feel like Bananas and Nany are the epitome of what a good challenge team is. They really give it their all, and they surprise people time and time again. It just shows experience does pay off in this game, and they're an amazing pair together.
The look on Nany's face, it's just focus and determination. It's like the cutest thing. Nany, you got it? Now listen, here, no, here's what you do.
Don't talk to me, please.
I know, make sure you're centered.
I know,
All right.
just please.
Yep, put that right hand. Yep, and make sure you have pressure on all.
I know.
Ross, there you go. Yep, that's exactly what I was going to tell you.
I got it. Please stop helping.
Helping?
No, you're helping, but you're distracting me at the same time.
Now for number 1, the one you have all been waiting for, we have Puzzle Pyramid from Free Agents against CT yet again for the 3rd time. And I'll be honest, I did not think this would be number 1 either, but there is so much to love about this elimination and to admire about it. The way it worked was you each had 3 puzzles and had to solve them and ring a bell. That's it. But there's a beauty in that. Nothing too complicated, nothing too polarizing. It really was just an elimination you could only rely on one thing for, your brain. Now CT is known for a lot of things, but one of the things he is known for by far the most is how amazing he is at puzzles. He probably is considered the best to do puzzles on the show ever. Bananas is known to be decent and not really consistent at them. But it's like they swapped brains because Bananas just flew by all of the puzzles in an absurdly short amount of time. So fast, actually CT for all these years thought Bananas must have cheated, and lots of people online also have always wanted to believe that Bananas cheated, which in this elimination I don't think that's even possible to cheat. But it goes to show how much of an upset this elimination was that CT and fans had to come to that conclusion. Here's them talking about it earlier this year on Bananas podcast.
Can we talk about free agents?
Oh, now you cheated on the puzzles?
Love how when I beat you, it's cheating.
Did Laurel will give you the fucking key?
No, she did not give me the key.
She didn't give you the up, down, left, right, this, that, and the other
how
thing.
could she?
When you guys were walking off into the distance when no one was around, when she turned the fucking bin around so you could see it?
No, did not happen.
All right, I'll believe you.
Did not happen. I was just, dude, I had my puzzle savant moment.
But yeah, all of a sudden you turn into Jedi Master puzzles.
And you couldn't fucking do a puzzle to save your life.
Oh, yeah.
That was wild.
Yeah, I tell you what though, when it comes to puzzles, sometimes you have it that day, sometimes you don't.
That's what I'm saying. I've been through puzzles where I'm like, I can't figure it out, and other times it just like falls into place.
I know. Okay, whatever.
All right.
I want to throw in this rarish clip of them talking about what would happen in a rematch as well.
I would definitely take him. No way. You know what? That was a fluke.
Okay. Listen, I still to this day, when I remember the pyramid puzzle I did against CT, I think I just blacked out for 30 minutes because I'm not good at puzzles. Well, I mean, I'm not terrible at puzzles. Puzzles are not my strong suit. I don't know how I did that. I don't even know if I do that again. But I did. Because I winning that season. It was pretty spectacular. So I guess I could say it might go the same way. It might not.
Another thing was whoever won this elimination was winning the final. They both knew that. I don't think there's been a more gratifying win. It's like Bananas knew he won the season. Pretty much celebrated getting the final win after this elimination ended. The 2 best players of all time yes, they are the two best still, going up head to head in a very fair, straight up elimination, even if by some accounts it may be anticlimactic because of the simpleness. It has to be number one. And to me, it's Banana's most impressive performance in an elimination.
CT and Johnny, you guys are going to battle it out in the elimination round.
Luck, man.
Once again, history is repeating itself. The CT Johnny Bananas rivalry is alive and well.
Curse, bro. Tell you, it's a curse.
Two of the biggest guys to ever play this game are now going against each other once again before the final. You couldn't write a better story than this.
3 puzzles in a row, and I'm doing them against CT, who somehow, some way knows his way around puzzles. It's gonna be a tough day at the office.
I get up there, I look at this puzzle, and it's like my hands just start moving without me even thinking.
I don't know, Bananas, with the puzzle school in Chile, man, this guy is flying through these puzzles right now.
I have so much anxiety and so much adrenaline coursing through my body right now because all I want to do is just step on the podium next to me and ring the bell that I literally am having trouble counting to 15.
All right, Bananas.
Good job, man.
I feel like the weight of 10,000 volcanoes has just been lifted off of my shoulders. This is my day.
So there you have it. All the eliminations ranked. 21-17 elimination record. That is crazy. You might not love him, but you can't deny it's usually one of the biggest or best episodes of the season whenever Bananas goes in. He stirs shit up whenever he's in danger, and no matter what, he will make it one to watch. You literally never know what he can come up with or what will happen if he wins and goes back to the house. It's why I love his eliminations. The reason I even wanted to make this video is that Bananas is usually talked about as not being the best in eliminations, which I do know the whole reason that started was because at one point he had a losing record, but now he's won the most. And even if he loses, which he does have the most losses of all time as well, it's always close. It's never a blowout. Actually, he really only ever loses to heavy hitters like CT and Jordan, who he's still beaten more than they've beaten him. The worst loss he's had, stats-wise, was to Gabe. I consider Bananas in all actuality to be one of the best in eliminations, and certainly one no one should ever want to see in them. Oh, and before I see you all bitching in the comments about it, exiles count. They are elimination rounds. You win, you have a chance to win the money. You lose, you go home. One thing is for certain though, Bananas is the challenge.
We have to do what Johnny says. We haven't been backwards for
Because
Johnny.
I am the challenge, Clara! Because I am the challenge!
It's not about you.
So yes, it is. It is. I'm talking. So yes, this is all up to me.
Oh my god. You made yourself set over since
Yes, I have for 25 seasons and will continue to do so. There's a reason you're here. It's because of me.
Oh, really? You commission the show. You commission the show. Okay, great.
I am the challenge.
Wow.
Thanks for watching, guys. I have no idea how this video will do or go, or what the future holds, but it's nice to reconnect. I can't say I'm back, but I'm not closing the door either. This video took a month to make, so I think you can all see why I had to take a step back. If and when I make another video, I'll see you guys soon.